So Warner Brothers and DC actually made a good animated movie this year. I didn't think it was going to happen after the giant failure that was Crisis on Infinite Earths, but here we are. They finally made a great one again. I can only hope that Part 2 sticks the landing just as good as this one did. So, let's talk about it. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to New Station, which is your for anything and everything animation. I have something in my eyebrow. Your one-stop destination for anything and everything animation, including TV and movies. I'm your host, Jackson Small. Welcome to my review of the latest DC animated movie, Watchmen Chapter 1. Now, what's interesting about this movie, right off the bat, is that this is a joint project between not only DC and Warner Brothers Animation, but also Paramount. Yeah, one of their competitors is working with them on this movie. Needless to say, that caught my attention right away, because I'm like, Paramount and Warner Brothers working together? When would we ever see that happen? But, yeah, it happened. They did it, and it resulted in a movie that is absolutely amazing that you need to see. Now, granted, this is a movie that is strictly for adults. Like, this is a violent movie, this is a dark movie, this is an adult movie, this is a gritty movie. Only watch this if you're over 18, or else you will be traumatized. And as for those of you wondering, have I seen the Zack Snyder live-action movie from 2009? No, I haven't. No, I don't plan to, because Zack Snyder's a hack. Anyway, let's talk about Watchmen Chapter 1 and why it is so great. Here's my written review. I hope you guys enjoy. Well, talk about unexpected. Following the disaster of Crisis on Infinite Earths, WB Animation decided to do something very different. Team up with rival company Paramount and adapt the violent dark world of the Watchmen into a two-part animated movie beginning with Chapter 1, which just came out yesterday on digital. Before you ask, yes, I do know this isn't the first time this comic has been adapted to the screen, as there was a live-action movie way back in the 2000s. But as someone who doesn't like Zack Snyder's films, I've refused to watch it because, regardless of how good or bad it is, I don't care. There was also a TV show, but I don't have time for that right now. So this is my first full introduction to the adaptation side of this series, so I'm ignoring the other two and taking this as its own thing. Definitely more than a few things were a bit concerning going into this one, though. The animation is stylized 3D instead of 2D, a lot like Battle of the Super Sons and Dragon Ball Super Superhero. It's only half of the full story. This is a two-part movie. And with DC's recent track record with animated movies outside of the Ruby crossover being bottom barrel garbage, seriously, screw the Tomorrowverse, it was a huge failure. Unless you're Long Halloween, the Tomorrowverse sucked. It definitely could have been just another failure in WB's catalog. Yet strangely enough, it wasn't that. This is an excellent character-driven, grisly animated movie that succeeds in almost everything it set out to do, and thankfully washed the revolting taste of both Crisis and Borderlands out of my mouth. The pros: outstanding voice acting, especially from Titus Welliver as Rorschach, who is the best part of the movie, insanely good world building, grisly storytelling that's adult without being cringe. It's harder than you think. Excellent characters that I instantly became invested in, deep complex messages about existentialism and politics, and unlike The Boys, it's not obnoxious. The pacing is a slow burn that takes its time, the animation is fantastic and really emulates the style and feel of its source material, the writing is dark and brutally realistic, the atmosphere is unrelentingly filled with dread and unease, the final 30 minutes are amazing and has a hell of a cliffhanger. Character development throughout is superb and really helps the characters feel more like real people, despite the obvious heightened realism. Earns its R rating with both adult content and some very visceral violence toward the end. Rewatchability is high, it's incredibly faithful to that source material, and the mystery, much like the best Batman stories, is genuinely engaging. Cons: there is a lot of exposition dumping, a few scenes will trigger some people, specifically all the shocking vile acts of the comedian. Like, if you thought Homelander was bad, wait till you see the comedian. He's somehow even worse. And the runtime, while mostly handled well, does start to be felt towards the end. Like, in the final 10-20 minutes, I was starting to feel its hour-and-a-half runtime. Overall, though, Watchmen Chapter 1 is a dark, grisly, violent, brutally realistic, shocking, poignant, and masterfully crafted animated movie that does its source material justice and is by far DC's best animated movie of this year. Can't say it's my favorite animated movie of the year overall quite yet, but it's definitely one of the best and it deserves your watch. Also, when you do watch it, stay through the credits, as it not only has some extra background audio that adds more context, but at the very end plays the trailer for Watchmen Chapter 2. I'm excited for Chapter 2. Unfortunately, we don't have a release date yet, but if I had to guess, if this is something like the Ruby crossover, that was 2 parts, it will come in like November or December of this year. I'm pretty sure we're going to get Part 2 this year, on top of Part 1, so... With that said, let's get to my final verdict for Watchmen Chapter 1, which is going to be a high and well-deserved 9 out of 10. It is a great anime movie for adults. It is one of the most adult animated films that I have ever seen. And if you love the Watchmen comic, you're going to love this movie. It does a great job adapting the source material, while also working in its own right as a great adult animated movie. Yeah, short, sweet, and to the point, but I try to keep spoilers out of these reviews, so there's not really much more I can say. So, definitely check this one out, and definitely check this one out over Borderlands. Seriously, fuck Borderlands. Watch this instead. It is way more worth your time, and it will cost you a lot less money. That's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.
We cannot take it anymore. The time has come. Prepare for we're ready for this. I really hope that I'm ready for this.